Like, I think people should plan and they should develop a vision. You have to develop the vision and then be somewhat detached from it because it needs to be updated, right, and modified. And
hold it loosely, yeah.
Yeah, you hold it loosely. Yeah, that's right, because you're fallible and maybe you can come up with a better plan. Not every minute, because you'll drive yourself mad that way, but now and then.
Or I was obsessed as a young higher education professional with becoming a college president until I sat down at the senior leadership table and I realized I don't want that life. I don't want that life. I don't want 24/7, 365 and the politics. I don't want it. Asking for money. I don't want that life. And I didn't have a backup plan. I didn't know what to do. I was like you nailed it. I was completely rudderless because I'd made the finish line the goal. Going all the way back full circle to how you open the conversation, I think that becomes really important to lay out an identity and reverse engineer. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become? And the goals end up, it's like the old days when you went to grad school. A PhD was simply a high five on a journey of continued learning. I'm gonna continue going down this rabbit hole. And now it's become a destination and people walk out and announce themselves as educated because I've crossed this finish line. Just because you get across you run a marathon or walk a marathon, doesn't mean you're fit, right? Doesn't mean you're healthy.
Well, we talked about the necessity of goals. And so there's higher order goals. And you need the higher order goals because they integrate you. And a goal of becoming a college president is a higher order goal than no goal at all and just sitting in your bed and eating Cheetos, right? So it's right. A better plan than no plan at all. And this is where things become profound and serious. And I would say even in a religious sense, because what's religious is about what's profound and serious in some sense by definition. So you might say, well, who should I be? And you might think, well, I should be the college president. I should have this car. I should have this house. Those are all very particularized versions of yourself. And the problem with them is that they're concrete and final actualities and not processes. And so here's a good vision that's a high order vision. And I think it's the vision that our whole culture is founded on. I should be the person who genuinely confronts the problems and challenges that confront me in my life. So that's an attitude of active and voluntary engagement, right? I'm going to do
that's an identity, yes.
Yeah, and it's an identity of process as well. It's like I'm going to be someone who doesn't shy away from the challenges of life. Okay, and then
I'm a guy who confronts it. Yes.
Right, and so that's St. George and the Dragon, and that's a precondition for therapeutic transformation, because in order for you to improve, you have to identify the problem, the dragon, and you have to be willing to face it voluntarily. And so you say to yourself, I'm going to do what I can to develop the courage to confront the problems in my life voluntarily. That's who I want to be. And then another element of that is, I can't do that without telling the truth. I have to be willing to see what's in front of me. And I have to be willing to admit to myself what I think and feel, and I have to be willing to communicate that. And so you could say, well, that makes your goal something like, to think about it archetypally, you talked about Jungian approaches earlier, is that makes you into a truth-telling hero. And then maybe underneath that, it's like, well, could I become college president? Could I be successful in my business? Could I be successful in my marriage? It's like, that's all well and good, and those are more concretized goals. But the highest order goal has to be something like an approach rather than a final state.
This motherfucker don't miss.
No, he's fucking good.
That motherfucker don't miss, man.
He's good.
In the heat of battle, he don't miss.
No.
In the heat of controversy, he don't miss.
No.